Good morning from Los Angeles. Alyssa Corman Kenshreeve here with your market update. And on today's show, we're taking a look at Goldman Sachs as well as United Airlines and Spirit Airlines. But first, let's look at the major indexes. We are up across the board. The NASDAQ up about 0.5%, while the Dow is leading up about 0.6%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.4%. So, looking at the chart of the NASDAQ, we were able to retake that key 50-day line yesterday. So that's positive. It is very positive. There was a little bit of volume behind the NASDAQ's move yesterday, up 1.7%. Also a pretty good gain for the S&P 500, up about 1.1%. But it is good to see the NASDAQ following through after a bullish session yesterday. Again, it did manage to reclaim the 50-day moving average, and it is up again today. We've got more earnings reports in focus, but still looking through these growth screens, trying to find actionable buys, and it's still kind of tough to find the growth stocks breaking out of basis. So that's a little perplexing, but hey, we're still in a confirmed uptrend, and we could see breakouts soon. All right. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for some more of those actionable names. We want to talk about Goldman Sachs gapping up on its earnings. Shares up about 6.4% in heavy volume, retaking its key 50-day line. We have better than expected earnings and sales here, but like many bank stocks, Goldman is well off of its high still. Yeah, even with today's big gain, it's still about 30% off its high, so a big jump today above the 50-day moving average really isn't doing a whole lot to improve the stock's technical picture. It still is in a technical downtrend, again, about 30% off its high. So, it's a busy week of financial earnings. We saw numbers earlier this week from JP Morgan and Citigroup. Of course, Monday, all the financials reversed impressively higher. Right. So definitely financials getting some buying interest here, but a lot of these stocks have been beaten down so hard in recent months. They still have a lot of work to do to get to better entry points. Right. So even with positive earnings results, would want to see the charts continuing to repair and base patterns hopefully form. Yeah. So Goldman back above the 50-day moving average is a positive, but the 50-day line is actually below the 200-day moving average. So Goldman's 200-day line is around 220, 221. Something like that. So that is looming as a potential resistance level. So banks are not out of the woods yet, making a case for a bottom, and the numbers have been pretty good, but still kind of risky buys down here. Well, United Airlines moving higher today on its quarterly earnings report. Shares up almost 7% in heavy volume. A nice gap up there. We have earnings growth of 67% and sales growth of 11%. So some nice acceleration there for the bottom line, and a gap up today for United. Yeah, and this is actually a little better than Goldman in that it recently found support at the 200-day moving average. You can see just yesterday it kind of firmed up around the 200-day moving average, and then a nice gap up for the stock today. Again, some airline stocks have been in the news this week on earnings, so United is the latest, but you can see the red line there, the 50-day moving average, still a potential resistance level for United. So this is another stock that's really not at a buy area here, but nice gap up for the stock on pretty good numbers. Right, even though it ran up as much as 6-7% from that cup with handle buy point, the following pullback has resulted in that buy point no longer being valid, even if it does make its way back up. Yeah, it was a pretty sharp pullback for the stock after, like you said, a breakout, but it did, came down to the 200-day moving average, a longer-term support level. It did find support, and now it's trying to get back above that 50-day moving average. You can see it got close to it today, but has pulled back, and still a strong percentage gain for United, but the stock is near its session low after early pop. Well, support always good to see, and as you mentioned, that 50-day line, we'll have to keep an eye for potential resistance there. And elsewhere in the airline space, Spirit Airlines looking pretty good here. We're seeing a gain of over 3% today, and Spirit has been a top performer in the airline group. So what would the potential entry point be for Spirit here?
Well, good instance of support at the 50-day moving average for Spirit Airlines. This stock is also in basically a cup-shaped base. It is just over 6 weeks long, so you could put a entry point here of 65.45, but really good action around the 50-day moving average during a time when a lot of stocks have really been technically damaged. Spirit, broke out and then showed good supporting action at the 50-day. So big annual earnings estimates at Spirit too. Earnings in 2018, they haven't reported fourth quarter results yet, but earnings in 2018 expected to be up 32% from 17 and accelerating in 2019 up 45%. So it looks to be a pretty compelling fundamental story here. Spirit, clearly the standout among airlines right now.
That's right. So as it continues to climb up the right side of that base, what are some of the things that you're going to be looking for to determine if it would be worth buying?
Well, it needs volume. This is another kind of missing ingredient. We are in a confirmed uptrend, saw a nice powerful follow-through day for the S&P 500 on January 4th, but the volume in individual stocks has been a little bit lackluster. Even with Spirit showing good support at the 50-day moving average, even recent up days hasn't been expanding volume. So it's really a stock where there's been a volume dry out. So just looking for volume to increase. At this point, it's going to hopefully continue to build the right side of this base, hopefully with some above average volume gains, and we'll see if it can take out that 65.45 buy point.
Yeah, well, volume definitely a key ingredient to look for, and if you want more analysis like this and us answering your questions directly, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, because coming up on January 23rd, right after our morning show, Ken and I will be on YouTube Live exclusively answering all of your questions about the stock market, where we could be headed next, stocks on your watch list, what to look for in growth stocks. So we want your questions ahead of time, but also interactive during the live Q&A. So make sure you check out that AMA and Ask Me Anything session. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mentioned yesterday, investors have a lot of questions right now. Can this new uptrend be trusted? What do we want to look for in the early stages of an uptrend? What are the best stocks to buy and watch now? So we'll be covering a lot of ground.
That's right. We'll be giving you our insights, so don't miss it. And you can also check out all of our content across social media. In addition to YouTube, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So make sure you're following and subscribing for the latest. But that YouTube subscription is especially important, because the Q&A, AMA, whatever you want to call it, will only be on YouTube after the show. All right, everyone, be sure to head to investors.com throughout the trading session and at the end of the day for the latest market news and analysis. We'll see you back here tomorrow.